everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dallas repping 52, Ray Lewis of the Baltimore Ravens.
As always, I'm Neil Half Brendan, repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We got a great episode for you guys today. The WNBA wrapped up their season, so we're going to talk a little bit about them. MLB baseball is still in the midst of their playoffs, so we are, of course, going to talk about that. And then college football, and of course, as always, the NFL. So let's jump right in. Because the WNBA wrapped up, we're just going to talk about them very briefly. The Las Vegas Aces did sweep the Phoenix Mercury 4-0 in their series final to become this year's champions. So congratulations to the Aces. Asia Wilson was named series MVP. Not surprising. She had a great series, and she had a great final game. I kind of thought they wouldn't force Game 4, that they would maybe rest a little bit more and try and take the series back home to Vegas and win there. I don't know if that had originally been the plan, but the Mercury were never really in that game. So I think from the Aces' perspective, it made more sense to go all out, get the win, leave no room for questions or issues for the Phoenix to come back. It was a great series. It was a great game. Congratulations to the Aces and Asia Wilson. It will be interesting to see what the Aces look like after this year. Currently, all of their players that aren't rookies are pretty much no longer on contract. Every contract is expired, minus their rookie players. So it'll be interesting to see how they divvy that up, especially with player negotiations happening right now. What that looks like, what the team looks like next year, and if they can continue on this path. It's back-to-back champions, and there's a lot of questions around the WNBA right now. So it will be interesting to see what this looks like.
All I can say is I was going to watch the final, and then the Aces just kind of demolished and were dominating, and it got boring, and I was like, well, it's on. It's there.
It's fair. It's a thing that's happening.
But
yeah, that's fair.
When it's that, when they win, just I can't do anything with it. It just wasn't.
No, that's fair. It's hard to. I feel that way in sport. It's hard to get into it when it's a blowout. When
it just feels like a domination.
One team clearly outmatches the other. Yeah.
And that's just how it felt.
I like the competition. And this was not that at any point. So it was a great season, great series. And yeah, I think this off season will be very interesting. And as things come up, I promise we will discuss it. But with all of the concerns, questions, and criticism following and revolving around the league right now, it's going to be an interesting offseason.
All right. Well, yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for the WNBA. We will kick it over to baseball in the midst of their finals.
Yeah. So last we talked, the wild card had finished. So we got into the divisional. On the National League side, coming out of the divisional is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They beat the Philadelphia Phillies 3-1 in that series. Kind of just dominated the whole series. It's the Dodgers. There was no real surprise there. And then the other divisional in the National League was the Brewers and the Cubs. That series went the distance in the divisional in baseball. It's a best of 5. Milwaukee gets the win in that series 3-2. I expected that one to be a little more one-sided. I thought Milwaukee was definitely the better team going into it, and I really didn't think the Cubs stood a chance. But they held in there. They made it close. So respect to Chicago for that. But Milwaukee was just the better team. They got the win. pretty much just like that. On the other side, in the American League, the Blue Jays dealt with the Yankees pretty easily. That series was 3-1. It did not at all feel like the Yankees were gonna do anything in that series. It just felt like the Blue Jays hitting was dominant, and their pitching was good enough. Aaron Judge looked good. It just felt like he wasn't going to be able to do it himself. And the rest of New York just kind of wasn't great. So shout out to Toronto and the Blue Jays. They got that one. And then the other series in the American League was between the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers. The Mariners did get the series win 3-2. After one of the best games of baseball I've watched in a long time, I was texting Dallas during this game. Never been so mad to be invested in a baseball game because it went 15 innings. For those of you that don't know baseball, the standard length of a baseball game is 9 innings. They went to 15. So it was an incredible game in terms of like the tension and the pitching and just how much it meant because it was a win or go home game. Both teams knew that. So just for that last couple innings where if you screw up, you go home, it was incredible to watch. And the Mariners did win in the 15th inning, 3-2, to win the series 3-2. So that was a pretty incredible game. It was really fun to watch. So congrats to the Mariners. And then the championship series has started. So in the American League Championship, it's the Seattle Mariners taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Currently, the Mariners lead that series 2-0, winning both games in Toronto. So they've set themselves up really well for coming back to Seattle for the next 3, if needed, because baseball's really weird. So they do 3 games for the wild card, 5 games for the next 7 games, but their 7 games are set up differently than every other sport. You go 2 for the home team, 3 for the road team, and then 2 again for the home team, rather than 2-2, 1-1-1. They do it a little differently. But so Mariners are going home for the next 3, have a really good chance to win it in Seattle to move on to their first World Series. So that's great. On the other side, in the National League, very similar situation. The Dodgers have a 2-0 lead in the series over the Milwaukee Brewers. And again, really good situation for them to win it in LA. To go to another World Series. They were just there. They are the defending champions. So, kind of expect them to do it. Personally, I would want the Brewers to win. Because if the Brewers won, we would probably see a World Series between 2 teams that have never been, or that have never won it. Excuse me. The Brewers have never won it. The Mariners have never been. So I thought that would be a fun World Series. Does not look like we're going to get that. Looks like it might be the Mariners versus the Dodgers. So, yeah, should still be fun. Still really happy for the Mariners. Hopefully they get it done and can get there. But the Dodgers are going to be tough to beat if they make it. So, we will see.
Yeah. You were texting me. I was like, I need to see this. Like, I need to understand what's happening. So I did turn on Game 5. The Mariners last series. I think I tuned in at inning 12 over 13.
Probably
watched the
12.
final of it. I think it was exciting as it could be. I was as invested as I think I've ever been in baseball. Obviously, rooting for the Mariners just because they've never been to the World Series, so I think that would be really exciting. It was the thing I turned on. I paid enough attention. I had a few questions during the game just to make sure I understood what I was looking at and what we were watching. Hopefully, if the Mariners get into the World Series, which, like Brendan said, it seems like it's going to, I'll tune in for that and try to be more invested in the final.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, I believe the World Series is going to start October 24th. Is when they plan it. If both of these series are sweeps, they might move it up. I'm not really sure what the situation will be, if necessary. But as of now, it is tentatively the 24th that the World Series will start. So, all's good there.
Awesome. Well, then we will move on to college football.
Yeah.
We watched 3 games of that this week. So
I only watched 2. So, doing better than I did. Actually, no, I did watch 3. Yeah, I watched 3. Forgot about one. So we'll start. The first game was Ohio State versus Illinois. Kind of expected Ohio State to kick Illinois' ass, but I did think in Illinois they would give them a fight. They didn't. Ohio State kind of kicked their ass. 34-16. Wasn't ever really close. I do think Ohio State is the best team in the nation currently. Obviously, defending champions. They've been playing great. Their defense is incredible. And they just have some really fun offensive weapons. So I just think Ohio State is the best team in college football right now. And then Illinois was ranked. They didn't look it, honestly. The gap between those two teams was pretty substantial. So unfortunate there, but is what it is. The second game I watched was Indiana versus Oregon. This was a really good game. I thought it was really back and forth. Indiana did get the win 30-20. So they are undefeated 6-0, beating Oregon, giving them their first loss. This was 2 top 10 teams. Oregon obviously ranked 3rd going into it. Indiana ranked 7th. Indiana, the turnaround they've had the last 2 years, obviously going undefeated last year until they got to the playoffs. This Indiana turnaround has been incredible to watch. Not traditionally a football school, more of a basketball school, but they've definitely turned it around. It's been incredible. I thought they played great. Did make some mistakes to keep Oregon in the game at times, but even when that happened, I thought the defense stood up and got stops when needed. So that was awesome to see. Just really happy for Indiana, considering, seriously, this school's never been good at football, and all of a sudden, they're one of the best football teams in the nation. So, really exciting for them. And then the last game.
Yeah, I mean, It's always great when they make progress. Like, that's the point.
Yeah, but the turnaround they've had has been pretty remarkable. So, really awesome there. And then the last game I watched was Alabama-Missouri. Another great game in terms of ranks. Missouri going into it 14th ranked, Alabama the 8th ranked team, and this game did not disappoint. It was close all the way through. Alabama did get the win 27-24. I think this is the same thing we've been seeing from Alabama this entire time. They do some things really well, and then they'll have some kind of bad moments. But at the end of the day, they are still winning games, and that's what matters for them. Whether they're legit or not, I can't tell right now. I'm seeing the same things week in, week out from them, and it just hasn't really changed.
Yeah, this is one of the games, one of my 3 as well this weekend, and we're just not seeing improvement in the things they're struggling with, but we're not seeing them get any worse. And like you said, they are winning. What that will mean for them on the line, potential playoff berth. Yet they have real struggles offensively, I think this was one of their worst games defensively. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Alabama right now. Is unless they start making improvements to what they're struggling with, I can't see them doing a ton of. Can't see them making a real push right now.
Yeah. So the second game I watched was Tennessee, Arkansas. Tennessee does get the win, 34-31. This was a really good game. I think it was one of Tennessee's better that they've had so far. We are seeing their struggles defensively, but they keep racking up a lot of points offensively. It's showing their growth, especially because they had the quarterback drama coming into the season, a new quarterback, all of those things. So to see their offense thriving is really great. I do think they're going to have some problems down the line when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, and they do play Alabama next week. So I think that will be a good test for them. But it was a great game. I think it was kind of the epitome of what people love about college football. It very fast paced, a lot of movement, a lot of scoring, and just two good teams playing football. It was a lot of fun to watch. Great to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final game I watched was Georgia Auburn. Georgia gets the win 20-10 over Auburn. I'm not quite sure what went wrong. If you watch this game, it was 10-0 Auburn for about 2.5 quarters.
Damn.
And then Georgia decided they knew what they were doing. They knew how to play football. And just kind of stomped them after that. It was a good game. It was exciting. It was just kind of one that was on. I haven't played close enough attention to either of these teams to give an input, but it was a game.
Nice. There is a bit of news coming out of college football that we just forgot to mention at the top of it. Penn State has fired their head coach, James Franklin. This comes after they dropped 3 straight games. Obviously, the first one was against Oregon. Great team. Did lose at home, but I don't think you could really be blamed for that one. But the next 2 against unranked opponents, the first one being against UCLA, was going into it as one of the worst teams in college football. They pretty much had cleaned house with their whole coaching staff prior to that game. So for Penn State to lose that one was pretty embarrassing. And then to follow it up with another loss to an unranked opponent in Northwestern, just kind of sealed the deal. There are question marks now, though, with Drew Aller getting hurt and being done for the season, so that really sucks. But losing 3 straight and 2 of which to unranked opponents, when you're coming into the year as the second ranked team in the nation, according to the AP poll, just can't happen, regardless of the situation. So that is why he was fired. But just a bit of news for a pretty high-profile team.
Yeah. I mean, sports franchises, the goal is to win. And when you get stored really good, when you struggle with that, this is not a shock.
No.
This is college football fans are very vocal about what they want and what they expect from their team. So I am not surprised this.
I'm not.
I'm a little surprised each section of the sport is first in the same time frame. But we're gonna get there.
Yeah. There have been other head coaches fired in college football. They're just from smaller schools. I want to say Oklahoma State fired theirs. I think Oregon State fired theirs. I probably missed. I know UCLA fired theirs. I just said just a lot of head coaches fired now. I think we're starting to reach that point in both the college football and NFL season where you're not performing.
Time to shape up or get out.
Yeah. So unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Well, if that does it, we'll move on to the NFL, who just had week 6 of their season. Have some breaking news. Obviously, we'll talk both Ravens and Seahawks, plus our games of the week. Some other things that happened this week. Look ahead to next week. Brendan, kick it off with breaking news.
Yeah, so we'll start with the injuries because we always do. Never want to, but it is kind of the price of playing football. We'll start with two of the weirder injuries that happened this week, as they both happened during warm-ups for the same team. So I don't know what this team was doing during their warm-ups, but, to each their own. First of all, the Indianapolis Colts have placed Anthony Richardson on IR. This is an orbital bone fracture caused by the stretching bands they use. So, not really sure how this happened, but it did. So Anthony Richardson, once again, can't stay healthy. Really unfortunate. Really, not even on the field. And
it's look, no injury is right. It's not. You want everybody to be healthy. But what the fuck?
I want to know what you were doing that caused the rubber band to hit you in the face.
Like, it snaps so hard that it comes back into your face, breaks your eye bone, breaks your face.
So that one was weird. Then the Colts followed it up with another injury during their warm-ups. This time, Charvarius Ward, their corner, runs into, I believe, his tight end during warm-ups and gives himself a concussion. That one, obviously, since it's a concussion, did not play. Have not heard much about his practice situation currently. With concussions, it kind of just depends. You have to be cleared and then practice. Most teams at this point in time have been playing it safer with concussions and have just been, you have to sit a full week and then you can return. So yeah, not really sure what that means long term for him. But yeah, gets a concussion in pregame warm-ups. And then
that's unfortunate. Concussions are always scary. So
yeah. And then another one was the Bengals tight end Mike Gesicki. Injured his pec during their game against Green Bay, and will be put on IR. So probably a pec tear. That tends to be what you set out for that long. We'll see if he comes back. But at this point, with how bad the Bengals are,
it won't help. It doesn't matter.
You might as well just sit. Just be healthy. And then the last injury we're talking about, probably the worst injury, and truthfully one that you never want to see. Fred Warner, the linebacker for the 49ers, broke his ankle and is done for the season. This is requiring surgery. I believe he's already gone through and the surgery was successful. So that's all good. But he is done for the season. The 49ers just continue to have the worst injury luck possible.
Cannot buy help. They really can't.
Really unfortunate. Never want to see it. Even as a Seahawk fan, I don't want to see the best players in the league get hurt. And truth be told, the best linebacker in the league just got hurt, and it's really unfortunate. So, I think this might be the injury that finally kind of spells the end for the 49ers this season.
I think it's kind of the straw. They've been holding on, but they've struggled. I think this is kind of a nail in the coffin.
But
Fred Warner makes that defense.
I think he was the reason it was all still kind of working. Because with him out there as 100%. That leader, as that just he's just an all-pro at every facet of the game. Losing that in that leadership, in that just energy, I think this finally might be what does the 49ers in. It's really unfortunate. I will say they are going to start getting healthier. It sounds like George Kittle's coming back. Ricky Pearsall should be coming back. Ayuk should be making a return here soon. Purdy should be getting healthier. So that offense sounds like it's coming back together, but their defense has been ravaged by season enders. So we'll see what that means for them. That's it for injuries. We'll get into some other ones. Eagles edge rusher Zadarius Smith has announced his retirement. Obviously signed there recently, and has just decided midway through the season to hang him up and just go off and retire. Not too much there. I don't think he's really been noticeable with the Eagles, and I think that was part of the decision.
I have to think, when you see players retire mid-season, it was on their mind in the off-season.
And they were like, one more?
No, I'm not ready. One more. And then they get into it, and they get into the grind. They just don't have the drive or even the energy that they used to. And it affects the team. And so I think him stepping away is a thing. It's before the trade deadline if the Eagles felt they needed to make a change or fill their roster spot. He just felt like it was time.
Yeah, so there's that.
Once it's time, you can't not.
Yeah. You can't just keep rocking out there.
Yeah.
So hopefully he has a good retirement. Had a pretty good career, so all's well that ends well. Continuing on with the news, there was a trade that happened. The Jaguars are sending Tyson Campbell and a 2026 7th-round pick to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for Greg Newsome and a 2026 6th. So just cornerbacks changing hands, and then a late pick swap. So nothing crazy. I will say, unfortunately for Greg Newsome, his first snap with the Jacksonville Jaguars was not a good one. It's not great.
No.
Really unfortunate that JSN just torched you for a 61-yard touchdown. It's just a real shame. Real shame.
Yeah. I know you're bothered by that.
Yeah. Real unfortunate. We'll talk about that play later. Don't you worry. But yeah, I expect a lot more trades to come in the coming weeks. Obviously, the trade deadline is November 4th, I believe, for the NFL. And according to Adam Schefter, he expects there at least be 10 or more trades this season. And when Schefter says something like that, he's probably got some real information as to that.
He's probably not far.
Yeah. And I believe we've already had 3 prior to the deadline. with the Ravens, the Browns, and the Jaguars all kind of making moves. So we're already at 3. I would expect a lot more coming up here soon. So we'll keep you posted on that. The last bit of, or one of the last bit of news, the NFL is suspending Brian Branch for 1 game for punching Juju Smith-Schuster in the face.
Yeah.
For those of you that didn't watch the end of the Lions-Chiefs game, it ended with pretty much a full brawl at midfield. So, Brian Branch initiated it by slapping Juju Smith-Schuster in the face, and then just kind of continued to go after him. I feel like a game is pretty light for this. Not really sure how I feel about that one.
I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think the only reason it was less, which I find outrageous, is because the game was over.
And that's why I think it should be more.
Yeah. If you didn't watch it, the whole interaction started. Mahomes attempted to shake hands with Brian Branch as they were leaving. For my criticisms, my annoyances, Patrick Mahomes does play with integrity. He does try to have good sportsmanlike conduct, and that's all he was attempting to do. Brian Branch was like, fuck that, and pushed past Mahomes. Juju Smith-Schuster should have let it go at that point, but didn't appreciate seeing his quarterback disrespected or being disrespected. So he then approached Brian Branch. Don't know what was said. I sincerely doubt it was worthy of hands to the face. And he threw that punch, especially because the game is over. Both teams are already pretty much on the field all together. It turned into an entire brawl trying to get them apart. It was kind of a contentious game already, and that didn't help. So it just took a moment.
It was just weird.
I think the only reason it was only 1 game is the game was over. I find that ridiculous. I agree with you. I think that because it was over, it should have been more. You tell me he got frustrated trying to win for his team. You can't tell me any of that. Yeah. It was inappropriate and unprofessional from start to finish. He displayed an extreme lack of respect for the other players on that field and for his team.
So, yeah. I think 1 game was a bit light, but at this point, the decision has been made, and he won't play next week. And then the last bit of news...
Lions did release a statement condemning his actions. And
well, no shit.
They could have said nothing. I'm sure he will be a Lion this season.
We'll see. What he does on the field is really good, but you can't have that happen.
Campbell has low tolerance for bullshit.
Yeah. So, we'll see. But yeah. And then speaking of suspensions kind of involving the Chiefs, Rashee Rice, his 6-game suspension is officially over, and he is now eligible to play this Sunday. So, he's making his return to the field against the Raiders, in theory. So, just a little bit of cleanup.
He will play, but if they wait a week because he hasn't been allowed to practice,
it wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, would not surprise me, but I expect him to play. with a full week of practice under him, I expect him to play. But yeah, that was the last bit of news. Just a little bit of cleanup there.
No,
there's one more. Forgot about one more. Because we did have a firing. I guessed wrong.
Got our first.
I guessed wrong on who the first firing would be. I thought it would be Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins. Instead, it was Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans. Was fired after the last game. It has not been good in Tennessee. Obviously, it wasn't great last year. Not great this year. So, no real surprise. I do think it's unfortunate now, though, that the last 3 number 1 overall pick quarterbacks have had their coach fired halfway through their rookie season. So that's never great. Hopefully, it doesn't stunt Cam Ward's development too much. We'll kind of see. I don't know who their interim is. I don't have it in front of me. But with Brian Callahan going, that also does mean the offensive line coach, Brian Callahan's father, is also departing the team. It would be a little weird if he didn't, but he's also leaving. So, just kind of unfortunate for Tennessee. Never really had a chance. Never.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be Mike McDaniel too, but this does not surprise me in the slightest. It's been terrible. And I do think it calls into question here. Potentially raises questions about what Will Levis's actual potential is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's a franchise quarterback. I don't think we have enough evidence of that. But I'm convinced he was the problem. When you see those exact same problems this year in a rookie quarterback, it's a team that appears exceptionally dysfunctional. So
yeah,
feel bad for both quarterbacks. Honestly, I feel really bad for both quarterbacks.
Yeah, and then I do have the interim head coach is going to be Mike McCoy, and he was the senior offensive assistant. So he'll take over as the interim. Not really sure who he is, truthfully. Good luck is really all I can say to him. And hope for the best, I guess.
Hopefully that means the playbook won't change a whole ton.
Hopefully. I doubt it, but with the new person coming in, it's tough to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would expect more coaches to be fired here soon as well.
Yeah, I think there are a couple. Let's talk. That concludes breaking news. So we will start with our games of the week. As always, unfortunately, we will talk the Ravens game, who unsurprisingly lost to the Los Angeles Rams, 17-3. So
couldn't do me a favor. Just couldn't beat the Rams. I do you a favor early in the season.
Let's start with. Let's see. Start with the Ravens had 13 players on their injury report. Mark 25%. They are the most injured team in the NFL right now, and they were going into that week. So, while yes, I do think it's next man up, all that jazz, this is a problem. I do appreciate the amount of respect Lamar is getting because we saw what it was like with him, even when they were losing. They were at least putting up points. Now, without him, fucking disaster. The Baltimore Ravens are 4-11 without Lamar Jackson in his tenure, so it's not great. This was their better defensive game. They definitely, I think they stepped up. I think they are trying. We're seeing more of that effort, more of that Baltimore mentality. Still not great, but I think some of that is still attributed to the offense's inability to move the ball on the field, and get the defense some rest. So, but we did see mass improvement from the defense this week. Still, obviously, Lamar Jackson, Quan Smith was out, Ricard was out, Emory Jones, Nobi Awuzie, a lot of players, a lot of big names. It matters to this team. It matters to how this team operates, functions, playbook, everything. Still seeing that, and we're definitely seeing it in the offense. This week, I will continue to say it. Does Lamar determine security? Is that what happens here? Because the drop passes, the fumbles, the turnovers are ridiculous. Ridiculous. I know it's a different quarterback, but your job is to catch the ball. Catch it, and then hold on to it. And if we could do those things, maybe the defense would give up so many points. Cooper Rush had an interception, had a fumble. Zay Flowers had a fumble. Great. It's not been great. I still have concerns with the play calling. I did not know why we ran 3 back-to-back Mark Andrews sneaks when they didn't work. The first down, you had options. You had Derrick Henry at your disposal. You have many running backs. I know that the offensive line is crap. I'm aware of that. Why wouldn't we try something different? Get no points. Lose another field goal. It was extremely windy this game. Do you think that played a part in him not taking the kicks, some of the kicks that I thought he should have, or I would have wanted him to, just to put points on the board? I do think the wind was a factor. M&T Bank Stadium, when really windy, you don't feel it on the field as much, but you do the further up you go. It has affected Justin Tucker over the years. It's just a reality when taking in that stadium. Still, it was worth a shot. No, let's have Mark Andrews run it, and then on 4th down, give it to Derrick Henry. Anytime he was out there, so they knew what they were doing. Lost yardage. It's crazy. This is the only game, though, since week 1. Derrick Henry had over 100 yards rushing. So it's unfortunate because he had one of his better games, and yet nothing to show for it. Points, the wins. It's just kind of a train wreck. Well, we saw CJ Gardner-Johnson to practice squad, or he was not elevated. He did not play. He has since been released by the team. This is apparently a mutual decision from both, but CJ Gardner-Johnson wants to play now. The Ravens are trying to establish what the fuck they're doing with their roster. They also released undrafted rookie free agent Ruben Lowry, who was picked up by the Indianapolis Colts this past week. So I'm just not sure what the plan is right now. I'm not sure what we're hoping for. I know that post-game, Harbaugh did say that both Lamar and Roquan Smith are hopefully set to return post-bye week. Patrick Ricard is still kind of up in the air. It's going to be based off how he is feeling and how comfortable he is. This team basically has to go undefeated point to try and make the playoffs and to try and catch up to the Steelers. I'm not sure that's possible. I know everyone wants changes at the O-line. I do as well. Only real option is Emory Jones, who had his first real practice today. Is just now physically cleared to practice protection. I don't know that that's the answer. I don't know that he's ready for what the Ravens need. I think getting Lamar back is the most important step. Sure, it's going to be. Yes, he can put points on the board. Will the defense look? Will the O-line be able to protect him? So, this game was really just more of the same. I do think they had a better game defensively. I do think we saw one of their best pass defensive games. Really only, I think, 2 big throws. But it's right now. Its chances of making the playoff. I think only one other team in NFL history has started 1-5 and made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's rough.
Hard to know. I don't know what this team looks like, as hurt as they are. Many holes in the roster as I see. Not sure where this team goes from here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means moving forward, quite frankly.
It's fair.
The fans were calling for Snoop Huntley during the quarter. He was replaced in the beginning of the fourth. It helped. They do still say that Cooper Rush is quarterback number 2.
I don't know why.
This is a team sport, and the whole team just every mistake possible.
My one thing with I don't know why Cooper Rush is quarterback 2 is at least Huntley plays a similar style to Lamar. Cooper Rush is not.
I could not even begin to understand of what they're doing, why they're doing it right now. We couldn't.
It's tough. It's tough to watch. I'll give them this. They did have a good performance against a really good passing offense in terms of.
Yes.
Didn't look like your secondary was getting beat too badly. Part of that was Puka Nacua did get hurt pretty early in the game. And then didn't get targeted again.
I'm going to argue that was the most Ravens game, was that unfortunately Nacua got hurt.
Yeah.
Because I was like Ravens football.
So, yeah. I'm with you. I don't know where the Ravens go from here. Because they could very easily win a bunch of games with Lamar back. But to be fair, we've seen 3 games with Lamar in, 4.
It still wasn't good. 4.
And they only had 1 win.
3. So, have other problems. It's not just Lamar. That offensive line. It's the mistakes with penalties, with turnovers.
Yeah.
A lot of problems.
It just...
While I think Lamar keeps them in games, Lamar is worth a lot of points. Don't know if it's enough. I know it's easy to want to compare to last year where the defense wasn't playing that well, but the Ravens offense was putting up 30, 40 points. They could still win. The line is worse. His wide receivers are dropping balls. His all-pro running back is fumbling at a rate he has never in his entire career.
Yeah.
There are other problems here. Lamar, as great as he is, and as much as he can shoulder and carry and make the people around him better, cannot fix every single aspect of this offense. Still continuing to see problems with the play calling.
Yeah.
Plan over and over and over again, not working. Do something else.
We had the conversation about Harbaugh earlier, and I don't think they'll fire him. But the more you just keep ramming your head against the wall and not adjust something, the more I'm like...
Yeah. I think the Ravens will be active with the trade. And I think if this does not get turned around, he will at minimum have new players going.
But yeah, that's the one thing I'll say.
I know that Zach Orr gets fired, but maybe demoted. I think Monken goes.
Because that's the one thing.
Because this is the first year under Monken, both Harbaugh, and fans have truly criticized his play calling. Of his first playoff game, and we're seeing it again.
Yeah.
So, for someone that doesn't come from a fullback background, he doesn't seem to know how to operate this offense without one. Then a final bit of news. The Ravens did not come out of this game any better health-wise. Tavius Robinson did fracture his foot. He's out to 6 to 8 weeks. It's pretty much the exact same injury as Isaiah Likely. So the news just keeps getting better.
Yeah. Yep.
I do think the bye week brings I think having a true week to just focus on the changes they need to make, not so much on game planning, rather play style, play calling, things like that. Hopefully getting some people back. Hopefully this will make an impact. It is the first week in Lamar's era. The bye week is pivotal beyond just health. If they can't get it turned around, if they come out of the bye and lose, that's a wrap for Ravens season.
Yeah. I think with Lamar, you're not counted out at 1-5. But if you fall to 1-6, coming out of a bye week, it's gonna be tough to.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be tough. They play the Bears. We did watch the Bears game. O-line nervous.
this season has not gone at all the way anybody expected it. So
no, weird as fuck.
It's par for the course.
Welcome to football.
Apparently.
Alrighty. Well, with the unfortunate Ravens game, we will move on. Thank God. To the Seattle Seahawks and their game. And just in case anyone's like, what the hell just happened? Same recording, just different headphones.
Yeah.
So we're all good.
All right, yeah. On to the Seahawks. Traveled to Jacksonville for this one. Got the win 20-12. Just the fact McDonald is 10-1 on the road as a head coach is insane, considering that they're like 4-9 at home. It's weird. I can't explain it. I don't understand. But the Seahawks just need to play on the road every week, and will be the best team in the NFL. That's my takeaway. I don't know what it is, but that's the takeaway. So yeah, to get back in the win column, it was a great game. Offensively, I thought this wasn't their best game, but I thought they did enough. And that's what we've been wanting from this offense. That's kind of what we expected this offense to be going into the season, and they've vastly overperformed expectations. I felt like this was the first game, though, this offense really, or this is the second game this offense really, struggled. The first one was against the 49ers, but I just felt like they got away from that identity. This was the game. They stuck to the identity, and they still kind of struggled. So the pass game still is pretty legit. Darnold and JSN are playing fantastic. At this point, if JSN isn't in the conversation for top wide receiver in the league, then you're having the wrong conversation. He's been great. He leads the league in yards. Part of that is Nakua's injury, but part of that is he's just been dominant. Him and Darnold have had probably the best wide receiver quarterback connection so far. It's been great. Yeah. And then he added another long TD this week, the 61-yard bomb we talked about earlier when we were talking about the Greg Newsome trade. Yes, it happened on Greg Newsome. It's pretty unfortunate for him. Comes into the game, and you could tell the game plan for Seattle was go at him. The minute he checked in, you kind of saw in the huddle, they noticed he checked in, and the moment they realized that, I think they went to this play, and they took the shot, and Jason beat him, and Darnold delivered a perfect throw. He's been great on the deep balls this year. That was awesome. That was just a big play that I kind of felt got the game going for Seattle. They weren't doing great on offense up to that point. Their first drive was a 3-and-out. The next drive, they got down there and then proceeded to run Zach Charbonnet up the middle 3 times on goal to go, which I thought was just so stupid. I don't know what that play calling decision was in that moment. Running Charbonnet 3 times up the middle. But Kubiak overall has been a net positive in terms of play calling. So can't be too mad. That just was one of those head-scratching moments from him. He does tend to have some of those a game where you just wonder, why are we doing this? But yeah, Jason's touchdown. Cooper Kupp gets his first touchdown with the Seahawks. Great route, great find from Darnold to get him in the end zone. So that was awesome. Again, the passing game looks really good. The running game really struggled today, or this game. Walker just couldn't seem to break anything. They'd rip a run and then get stuffed, and then they'd get some yards, and then it was one of those where it just couldn't seem like they could get any traction in it. And part of that is, I think, they're splitting Charbonnet and Walker's carries pretty much down the middle. I think Charbonnet's out carrying him still, though, which I think is just stupid. I don't know why you're doing that. But they've been splitting the carries pretty much down the middle. and I think that has to stop. I think we've seen this offense succeed significantly more with Charbonnet in the game, or with Walker in the game. Charbonnet has not been as good this season as he was last year. It just after the foot injury he had a couple weeks ago, after coming back from that, he just doesn't seem to have much juice currently. Like, he just seems slow to get started, and it's causing a lot of problems in the run game. That's not Walker's problem. Walker's problem has always been almost having no patience at all. He kind of just picks where he wants to go, or if it's not there, he bounces it, and that's been the problem. But overall, I thought Walker has just been the better back, so I don't know why we're still splitting their carries this much. I think it's been limiting this offense a lot, and I think it's part of the reason we're seeing this run game struggle at times, is once Walker gets going, they end up putting Charbonnet in the game, and that kind of slows Walker back down. So I would like to stop seeing that at some point, but we'll see. But again, this offense is generating so many big passing plays that they're kind of getting around having that running game with being able to really throw the ball. The problem is I don't think that's sustainable long term. You can't rely on big passing plays. We saw that with the Bills last year. The Bills last year lived in big pass plays. And if they didn't get it, they weren't going to move down the field. So that's what we want to see. I want to see them at least just be more consistent in the run game from a standpoint of just pick up something. This boom or bust run game feel just isn't what I want. But yeah. The offensive line I thought played good enough. Only one sack allowed. Did happen at a really bad moment in the game. Felt that Seattle had a chance to kind of go end it, and then the sack kind of took it out of them. But they got the ball back. Thought the defense did pretty well. Offensively, the one criticism I have of Kubiak so far is it seems like when Seattle, I don't know if this is a Kubiak, McDonald, I don't know if this is something they've agreed upon, because in theory the Seahawks are building a defensive-led team. But at the end of games, when they have a lead, it just seems the offense plays way too conservative. They don't take very many shots. They don't try to end the game on their terms. And I would like to see that a lot more. Because there were moments in the game where I thought the offense could, and they just didn't. And then I will say, on the last drive that the Seahawks had, they did take a shot. They ran play action, got Barner deep downfield. Darnold made a perfect throw. Barner caught it, 61-yard gain, and the Seahawks were then able to burn most of the clock. They went to kick a field goal. There's a penalty on the Jags. Seahawks kept the ball because the penalty was enough to give them the first down, and then they were able to knee out the clock. That's what I want to see more from this offense. So glad we kind of saw it at the end there, that this offense is capable of it. I would just like to see that more. Them trying to end it on their terms on offense rather than trusting I trust the defense, but I don't want to have to trust the defense. Which, speaking of, I thought the defense had a very good bounce back game. They didn't have Julian Love, they didn't have Devon Witherspoon, and they didn't have Reek Woolen. They didn't have Derek Hall. A lot of starters injured going into this game, and I thought they did a great job. That secondary was very beat up, and I thought the secondary did good enough, held Jacksonville to 12 points. Two of those the two TDs I felt were just bad plays in the secondary. So I did think we saw some good with some bad. The first touchdown to Brian Thomas was just terrible lack of communication from Shaquille Griffin and Nick Emenwari. I'm pretty sure that was Shaquille Griffin's man, Brian Thomas, that got open. Just complete lack of communication there. And then on the second one, um, Josh Jobe just completely misplays the football. Kind of stops playing midway through the rep. And at that point, Lawrence doesn't get sacked and is able to find Brian Thomas again for the touchdown. Or no, it was Tim Patrick this time for the touchdown. So yeah, not great. The one bright spot for this defense, really, was the D line was flat out dominant this game. Without Derek Hall, they did get DeMarcus Lawrence back for this game, and he had a fantastic game. As a team, they had 7 sacks, 17 quarterback hits, and pressured. Trevor Lawrence had 42 dropbacks. He was pressured on 33 of them, I believe. They were pressuring him at a 78% rate. So even when, which is actually pretty insane, because a lot of times plays are drawn up to not allow a pressure to happen. Screens, quick passes, are kind of set up so you don't get pressure. And the Seahawks were pressuring them at an elite rate. So that was awesome. It really stemmed from Byron Murphy, DeMarcus Lawrence, Chenna, and Leonard Williams. Murphy and Lawrence both had 2 sacks. I think Nwosu had 1. Williams had 1. Even Drake Thomas, the linebacker, ended up having a sack, which was a great play by him. Just completely blows up the left tackle, which is really impressive considering Drake Thomas is 5'11", 200 pounds. He's not a big guy. Completely blows up the left tackle to get the sack. So that was really awesome to see there. Just a completely dominant performance from the defensive line, and that's, I think, what got the Seahawks defense going and what got them the win. Without the defensive line kind of coming through, I think this game's a lot closer in terms of, I think the Jags put up more points. But I will also say, if the Seahawks were fully healthy in that secondary, I'm not entirely sure the Jags score, considering 2 of their touchdowns were just bad secondary play. And considering Seattle had 3 guys not in the secondary, I think there were potential that they would have fixed those problems. So overall, just a fantastic defensive performance to bounce back from last week where they kind of sucked. Beyond that, Myers, 2 field goals, 2 for 2, was fine. Just thought it was a good bounce back game on defense, and the offense did enough, which is what we want. For my players of the game, on offense, I'm taking JSN. I could pretty much take JSN every week if I wanted to. He's just been that good. I thought he was that good again today, or again Sunday. He's just been fantastic. There's not much more to say. Defensively, I could have picked anybody along that defensive line. I thought DeMarcus Lawrence was a tank, living up to his nickname. He was fantastic. I'm going to give it to Byron Murphy, who had 2 sacks in this game. I felt he was just dominant. First play of the game, gets the sack. And I think it was impressive what he did, considering the circumstances. For those of you that don't know, he had his daughter prior to this game. Unfortunately, she was born 3 months premature. So, really tough situation there for him. Thankfully, his daughter and his wife are doing fine. Both are healthy. So just for him to come out in this game and be dominant with everything that was going on, little sleep. I don't think he practiced. I think he was limited most of the week. So for him to come out and play this dominant was really awesome. So I think that's why I'm going to give him Defensive Player of the Game. But I think there were a lot of people deserving. I just thought, for the circumstances and how dominant he was great.
Definitely. Definitely.
But yeah, just a great game. The Seahawks, I think, have put themselves in a really good spot to contend, tied for the division. I would not be surprised if they were in the trade market, whether it's for a legit edge rusher, like a Trey Hendrickson, something like that, for maybe a linebacker. I could really see them bolstering parts of this defense. I think the offense has been really good. Maybe they add a interior offensive lineman. I just don't know if there's anybody really selling those at this point in time, considering that's just a problem around the league. So we'll see there. I do expect them to be busy in the trade market. They've been busy in the past. Obviously, they brought in Leonard Williams that way. They brought in Ernest Jones that way. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a midseason trade. My money is on a elite edge rusher. That's kind of what this team's missing in a way. I would not be surprised if they were making calls for Trey Hendrickson or a different one, but that's kind of where I think they're at. Really great to see. Still, this is the season, I think. The reason I think the Seahawks are definitely going to be in the conversation for somebody is looking around the league. I don't see a dominant team in the league. I don't think anybody's been like last year. There were dominant teams from start to finish. This year, I just don't think we're seeing that. And if the Seahawks can keep performing this way, I think they will think they have a legit chance to contend. So I would not be surprised if we see like a pretty hefty pick given up for somebody legit, with that thought process in mind. Because yeah, it just feels like this year's more wide open than years past, without dominant teams. And obviously, in division, the Seahawks are set up pretty well to go win it. Arizona's been a non-factor. As long as they have Kyler Murray at quarterback, I think that's going to be the case. The fact that they looked better with Jacoby Brissett tells me everything I need to know. The 49ers are currently leading the division, but three of them are tied. It's the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks are all tied at 4-2. 49ers are currently leading that, but with all the injuries they've gone through, I can't see them. I just can't see them holding on. And then the Rams have looked very beatable. Only beating that Ravens team, no offense, by 17-3, and it being 3-3 going into the half, kind of tells you what you need to know. This is a really injured Ravens team without Lamar Jackson, and that defense had not been playing good, and you put up 3 points going into the half. It's not great. So I just feel like the league is wide open and the division is wide open, and I think Seattle will try to take advantage of that. And that's kind of why I think they'll be very aggressive in the trade market this year.
That's fair. That's fair. It was a good game. I didn't expect it to really go any differently.
I didn't either.
I think we still have questions about who and what Jacksonville is. This is a very weird season of football, right? The Ravens are 1-5. The Chiefs are just now at 500. The Bills got rocked by the Falcons.
The Bills have lost 2 in a row. The Eagles have lost 2 in a row.
Lost 2 in a row. Like it's all a very weird season.
The best teams in football
so the Jags
are the Colts and the Buccaneers.
Yep. So the Jags being 4-1 going into this game, we talked about this last week, doesn't feel like a traditional 4-1. So I didn't necessarily expect it to go differently. But glad they got the win. They're playing really well.
I will say for my prediction on my
That
preview,
should be my defense.
for my prediction in my preview, I did have this being a higher scoring game, just because I didn't think the Seahawks defense was going to be able to shut them down this much. I did have the Seahawks winning. I think my score prediction was 27-24. So had it at least kind of right. I did have this game being a little closer and a little higher scoring, but the result is the same.
Yeah, good game. Congratulations to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And they're bullshit. Anyway, glad it's going well for somebody. I'm also not. Low-key was kind of rooting for you to lose.
I don't doubt that. It's probably tough having to
like,
watch
I
McDonald
just want him to
have
feel
a
my
good
pain.
have a good defense. It's tough to watch your.
I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it.
I don't blame you.
And what's really sad, here's the worst part. You don't know, you're too young.
Okay.
I've shown you movies that I love. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. And then you watch it, and 10 years younger than me, with higher expectations and graphics and visuals go, it was a movie. We watched it. I did that this year. I told someone, man, the Ravens, you want to get into football, they're a great team. They're a great team. You watch Ravens football with me, and they're watching it with me, and they're like, this is
great.
This is the standard. No, it's not.
It's tough to explain that this is a very unexpected
if you don't
one-off.
Know, yeah, the historically, right? It's been really good. Right now,
it's not.
It's a rough patch. And it's unfortunate. It's hard to do. So, but yeah, congratulations to the Seahawks. I think they're playing really well. We talked about this. I think a lot of people did not consider them in the offseason. And I think with what we're seeing from the rest of the league, you're right. I think the league is wide open. And I think I would expect them to do something to really make themselves contenders.
I would expect a lot of teams to be really aggressive in the trade market. I just think it's one of those where, with just how, again, with the Buccaneers as injured as they are, they're the top of the NFC, and then the Colts are the top of the AFC. And both of them have looked beatable. It's not like they've been just dominating people. The Colts barely escaped against Arizona. And it took a last-second field goal it's taken a lot of last-minute drives for the Buccaneers to win.
Yeah.
So I would expect a lot of that's why I also don't doubt Schefter's 10 to 12 trades. It's just looking at it, it makes sense because I think a lot of teams are going to be aggressive, and I think a lot of teams are going to start selling.
Nope, that's fair.
So
now that we've concluded the Seahawks, we will get into our games of the week. Yeah. I picked Bears Commanders. The Bears get the win at 25-24. This was a really good game.
Surprisingly?
I'm not sure it was good football.
It wasn't.
When you watch the beginning of the game, the Bears definitely had the edge defensively. The Commanders making a lot of mistakes. I don't want to say it's, I've talked extensively about the slump. I think we are seeing a more realistic version of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Not that he's bad. I think he's a great quarterback. But we're seeing that room for growth that we see in young quarterbacks. We're seeing kind of the holes in his game when the rush lanes aren't there, when his wide receivers are covered. We're just seeing more of that.
And I don't know, that knee injury coming back might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't looked as explosive as he was last year. Because that's why I didn't think he would take a massive step back. Because I felt like even when it wasn't there, he was creating a lot for himself. And it just doesn't look like that's happening right now.
Yeah. For the Bears side of the ball, I continue to see problems in Caleb Williams' demeanor and in his leadership, but they are finding ways to win. We're seeing vast improvements offensively. I think they are taking a step forward defensively. I think one of the things that held them back this game and continues to hold them back is his ability to make decisions or commit. He seems hesitant to commit to the pass or the run. We'll see how that continues to develop and how he continues to develop. But I thought at the end of the day it was a great game against two young quarterbacks. I know after the way the Bears-Commanders game ended last year, on the busted Hail Mary, they kind of wanted that back. So I do think this was kind of good for them from a team morale standpoint. Walk-off field goal. It was a good game.
Yeah, it just
not great football, but it was a good game. In the rain.
Seems like these teams can't help each other, can't help but just give each other the win type thing.
Yeah.
Like last year, the Bears gifted the Commanders the win. This year, the Commanders repaid the favor and gave it back. So that's interesting. I'll say that. So,
and I do. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Good game, not great football.
Yeah, I don't know. Just didn't look great, but it happens. Speaking of not looking great, my game of the week did not look great at all. Just was bad. I picked the Cincinnati Bengals and the Green Bay Packers. We had this discussion last week that I didn't want to pick this game, but I did. And it was kind of the shit show I expected, truthfully. I'll give Cincinnati credit. They at least were in this game for the most part. I think Joe Flacco is definitely an improvement upon Jake Browning, but I don't think he's going to move the needle in terms of them winning or losing games at this point in time.
Yeah.
Their running attack is just sad. 55 yards on 16 carries is not good. At least what I'll say is Flacco is doing a good job of getting the best players on Cincinnati the ball. Jamar Chase had 10 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown on 12 targets. T. Higgins had 8 targets, 5 catches, 62 yards. So I think Flacco is at least doing the right thing there on just getting their best players the football. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think this defense has real problems. And that's, I think, just the issue. I don't know if anybody could save the Bengals currently, where they're at. On the Packers side, I can't figure this Packers team out, truthfully. It just doesn't feel like they're as good as they should be on paper.
Yeah.
Like, Micah Parsons hasn't been bad, but I don't think he's been as dominant as we expected. I feel like Jordan Love is having an all right season. I don't think he's been great. I don't think he's been bad. I think he's just been very middle of the pack. I think what's getting Green Bay over the hump is Josh Jacobs has been fantastic so far this year. Had 18 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. I thought he looked good. And that's, I think, really what is getting Green Bay through games currently, is their run game. In the pass game, Golden had a good day. Jacobs had a decent day out of the backfield. Dobbs was all right. But that's really where I'm at. Is I don't know about the Packers quite yet. I just don't know what kind of team they are yet.
I feel like that's true for so many teams, which is crazy because we're going into week 7.
Yeah. And by now you would think they've revealed themselves. And they just there's some, and I think Jacksonville is another good example of it. I just don't know who you are quite yet.
Yeah.
And Green Bay is one of them. I haven't seen anything from them that tells me they're what we thought they were going to be going into the year after trading for Micah Parsons.
Yeah. 100%.
So I don't know. That's really where I'm at with the Packers, and then the Bengals. Like I said, I'm not sure there's any helping the Bengals at this point. I know they made the move for Joe Flacco to hopefully just win a couple games until Burrow got back. I don't see that happening. I think there's too many problems with this team. I don't think Flacco is going to be able to cover up any of them. He is at least an improvement upon that quarterback, Jake Browning, but I still don't think that's going to be good enough. So
that's fair.
I think when we talked about sellers at the deadline, I think the Bengals will be pretty prime sellers.
On the list. Yeah. Agreed.
So that's where we're at.
All right. Well, with wrapping up Packers, Bengals, we will move on to the rest of the field. What other games stood out to you this week? What caught your interest? What do you want to talk about?
I feel like there's 2 games that I want to talk about. Yeah, there's 2. The first one, it is the Giants-Eagles. That was Thursday night. So this is not the same.
What the fuck?
This is not the same Eagles team as last year. I think that can just be said.
Same Eagles team from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know what's happening. Is really the thing. Because the Giants got out to the early lead, the Eagles fought back and took the lead, and then didn't do anything again. They got shut out in the second half. Yeah. And I think we're starting to see Saquon is just not having the same year he did last year.
Great season. No.
And without that happening, I don't think this team is good enough. They needed him to be an MVP level player, and he's not doing that. And then from there, I don't think Hurts has been good enough. I think this is one of Hurts' best games, and yet they lost it 283 passing yards was, I think, his most on the year. Had a touchdown, which the touchdown was a shovel pass, so it wasn't anything spectacular, but he still had one. And then a really bad interception. So I'm just not sure. Jalen Hurts has not been great this season.
So, for me, this is the story of the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. I feel like the Eagles are always that team on the edge of greatness or train wreck.
Yeah.
They are an easily emotional team. They are an easily flustered or bothered internally team. And when that happens, they take a nosedive. I do not think Jalen Hurts is good enough to compensate or to elevate a dysfunctional team. And when that's what they are, that's what he leads.
Yeah.
When they're great, he is a great part of that team. And he is the quarterback. But I do not think he elevates this team. And I don't think he ever has. I know he's had great moments, right? I know. He threw a lot of passes and touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and he was Super Bowl MVP, and that's great. He missed A.J. Brown wide open multiple times against the Giants. When this team does not play well, he does not elevate. When this team plays well, he's a piece of it.
And I think that's... And, side note, I've never seen a team try to get their best play banned more than the Eagles have.
Oh my god.
Running it 4 times on
You fought so hard for it, and now you're just like, yeah, fuck it.
Like, running it 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
I've never wanted it.
That's going to get old.
I've said that I was never in favor of banning it, but then the Eagles have done this, and I'm like, okay, maybe there should be a conversation, because it's getting old. When they're doing it like they have been, it's okay when it's once or twice a game. I think that's what most teams in the NFL that have a package like it will do. You get to short yardage, and you'll run it once or twice a game. The Eagles just ran it 4 times in a row. So I think it's quickly spiraling out of their favor with that.
I agree.
On the Giants side, I thought this was a really impressive game from them. I think Daboll might have saved his job. It is still early.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot out of Jackson Dart. We've only seen 3 games, and he's won 2 of them. But as of now, I think Daboll has saved his job.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Daboll has saved the Giants organization at present moment.
Yeah, because Dart has been playing great.
That stadium, I've not seen them so fucking excited as a fan base in a long time.
Like, Dart did not have a good game against the Saints.
No.
That is just what it is.
He's a rookie.
A rookie. He comes out in this game, and I thought he was pretty decent. Like, I don't think he did put the ball in danger. I don't think he did anything too bad. And then Cam Scatterbo is just a psychopath that I think the best comp I've heard is he's just the juggernaut. If you've ever watched the early X-Men movies, he's just the juggernaut. He's just give him the ball, and he's going to run through somebody. I don't know how much he's going to be able to take at this. I don't know if he's going to have real longevity in the league. But we also thought the same thing about Derrick Henry. And
yeah,
he's been doing it for a long time at a
look,
high level.
I know that wants to be the main topic of conversation around Scatterboo right now. There have been players that physically can just take that.
And
they can and they do. I'm not saying he doesn't maybe need to work on a little more self-preservation, but there are players, and there have been players, that can do these things at a high level for a long time.
And I think the thing is, I think the lack of self-preservation is what makes him a good player, or a good back.
Yeah.
Is he's not going to back away
Pretty
from
normal
anything.
For great running backs.
So I hope, because he is so fun to watch.
He's phenomenal to watch. He's phenomenal.
Like the one play, he didn't get the touchdown on it, even though he had 3 touchdowns in the game. I thought his best play was the toss to the outside that got him 2 goal to go, and then he got the touchdown. They throw the toss play, and he gets like 10 yards. But he completely blows up Zach Bond, who was an all-pro linebacker last year. Just completely puts Bond on his ass. Like, you don't do that to all-pro linebackers if you're not strong and if you're not willing to do it, pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And to know that you can.
Yeah. The confidence to just, I'm going to run through your face. It's weird. Because I feel like he has Marshawn Lynch's mentality of, I'm going to run through a motherfucker's face, but he actually, means it. Marshawn didn't run through you. He would stiff arm you.
He was able to get around you.
He wouldn't ever, actually truck you. He would stiff arm you and make you miss. No, Scatabo is running through you.
Through people. Yeah.
So, you have to say, love his play style. And I think this could be the saviors of the Giants, are those two. So
I think at minimum they've brought hope and excitement to a franchise that hasn't had it in a very long time.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones did not get people this excited. I'm happy for what he's doing in Indiana. Giants fans were not thrilled with the draft pick and his play. This is getting people excited in the stands. I think it's great for the fan base. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The other game I wanted to talk about was the game in London. And the scoreboard does not... The scoreboard does not say how this game went. The Broncos won 13-11 over the Jets. So scoring-wise, this game was terrible. And it looked it. Now, the problem I have, okay, I've never rooted for a head coach more than I was rooting for Aaron Glenn. I thought Aaron Glenn was a fantastic hire for the Jets.
Yes.
I'm officially of the opinion, I know it's early, I know we're only 6 weeks in, but I don't think Aaron Glenn is capable of being a head coach. I think you're 0-6. Part of that is on you. Yeah. Jets are 0-6. They have started Justin Fields in every game that he was healthy for. There was one that Tyrod Taylor played in that he started because Justin Fields had the concussion. In this game, Justin Fields had a net -10 passing yards. And what that means is he had 45 yards of passing, but took 55 yards worth of sacks is what that essentially boils down to. Negative 10 yards.
You and I had a better passer rating?
You and I had more net passing yards than he did.
Than he did. And we don't play professional football.
I
am not sure. I don't necessarily inherently disagree. What I'm not sure is if it's Glenn.
And here's the reason I'm saying it's Glenn. At any point in this game, had he benched Fields, the Jets would have won. At any point, the Broncos were doing their best to give you the win.
To lose it, yeah.
We've finally seen
fair.
The Jets defense actually play well. The defense was giving you every opportunity to go win the football game. And every time Justin Fields would find a way to not get it done.
Yeah.
And I think that's
fair.
For me, is why I'm not sure. And there have been other problems. I think he's been not great in the clock management. I think he's not been great in game management. But I truthfully think he just doesn't have a feel for the game on the offensive side. I think he's a fine defensive coach. And I think he can get his defense going. But there's more to being a head coach than just defense. Because at the end of the day, it is your call whether to bench your starter.
Yeah.
That is not on your coordinator.
No.
That is on you. And again, in my opinion, had they put in Tyrod Taylor at any point in this game, I think they might have won it.
No, that's fair. I want to give him another year.
I'm not saying that he should be fired. Because again, you are having to deal with Justin Fields. And I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I also want to see if some of these things is a first-time head coach. A train wreck of an organization.
Yeah.
With an incompetent at quarterback.
I think that's fair.
So I'm not sure. Like, I agree with everything you're saying, right? I do. I don't know if he can get better. And if it can get better. And I would like to see that. I think if halfway through next year we're seeing the same problems, he needs to just be a defensive coordinator.
I also think...
But I agree.
I also think you can't... Let me put it this way. The Jets have to start winning games. If they don't win this season, at least 2, maybe 3 games, I think you're fired. Because that's like... I don't care if you're a first-time head coach. Like, in the NFL, you have to win games.
To never win a game.
It's just not.
Is nuts.
So... I think that's the uphill battle. I'll be very intrigued to see what they do next week, because I don't think they have a bye week coming out of London.
They do not.
I'll be very intrigued to see, 1, who starts, and 2, how long they start.
They play the Panthers next week.
Okay. I'll be curious to see who starts and for how long they start for. Because you can't keep throwing Justin Fields out there. You just can't, and want a chance to win. Especially because I'm pretty sure the only game the Jets were close in was the game Tyrod Taylor started the game and ended the game.
They were close in week 1 against the Steelers.
They were. I will give them that. They were close in that game. But yeah. I at this point, I don't think you can just keep trotting out Justin Fields and expect anything different. And if he keeps doing that, I can't say that his tenure as an NFL head coach is going to be long. Just with all the issues I've seen from, again, a first-time head coach. It's not surprising that he's having some of these issues. First-time head coaches always have issues with the clock, issues with just general game management situations. It happens. But for it to be this and this kind of situation where you're just not even giving your team a chance to win by leaving him out there, that's a real problem.
No, I do definitely agree with that. Because I don't know what the fuck the Broncos are doing. But
that's another one.
That's pretty rough.
I don't know what Sean Payton has decided to do differently this year. That it's got this offense.
It's not working.
Just not doing well. Because this defense is as advertised. They're not creating the turnovers.
It took a couple weeks.
I will say they're not creating the turnovers I would expect from them. But they lead the NFL in sacks with 30. It's week 6.
Week 6.
They're averaging 5 sacks a game. That's pretty incredible.
That's outrageous.
They're on pace to break the all-time single season by a team record. So, just with that being said, I think the turnovers will start coming for this team. Like I don't see them being, I think they're 29th in the NFL in turnovers. I don't see that being the case when you have your defensive line playing this good. The turnovers will come.
Yeah.
But offensively, I don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Is the simple answer.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. Only other game I wanted to talk about was Bills Falcons.
Yeah.
2 reasons. I think we are seeing a really odd time in football, right? The elite teams are
struggling.
Just on fire. The Bills wins are from teams that I believe have 3 and 17 record. Their losses have come to teams with winning records. And Josh Allen, in this game, returned to Josh Allen form with 2 interceptions on the night.
And which one was it? Was it the second one? The second one, I'm not entirely convinced.
I don't even know what the fuck that was. It got tipped.
And
at the line.
I think at that point the game was kind of already over, and I think he was just trying to force it. So I'm not entirely damn. The first one though, that one I think was definitely Josh Allen of old.
Those 2 were that's what he does. It gets down, he starts to force plays, and we see the interceptions come. I don't know that the Falcons are a good team, right? Because I'm very confused by the league as a whole right now. Only team in the NFL to put up no points in a game so far this season, and to then beat the Buffalo Bills.
The Bills was a bit interesting.
I just don't know what's going on this year. I really don't.
So, for reference about the Bills, they won their first 4 games of the season. The first win was against an actually healthy Ravens team, and the Ravens did give them the game. That was the game they won by 1 score, and the Ravens handed them the football game.
Yep.
Week 2, they beat the Jets, who haven't won a game yet.
And by the way, the Ravens are 1-5. Jets are 0-6.
I did quantify the Ravens, though, just because that was when the Ravens were at full capacity.
Fair.
So then you have the 0-6 Jets. They then beat the, I believe, 1-5 Dolphins. by 10 points. And then they beat the 1-5 Saints by 12. So, and then they lost to the Patriots at home, and then the Falcons. So, this was kind of my whole point with there's no dominant team this year. Is the teams you expected to be are not. And I will say for the Bills, they still have a stupidly easy schedule just because of who they play in their division. But they're not winning their division currently. The Patriots are first.
Patriots are.
Because they have the win over them. So, shout out to the Patriots. I thought they've been playing great too. But it's just, I don't know. This Bills team has real issues, and being able to stop the run is one of them. Because Bijan and Algier both just went all over that team. Now, don't get me wrong, I was very excited. I have Bijan Robin on my fantasy roster. Best decision I've ever made, by the way. I had the first overall pick. Chose not to take Jamar Chase. Took Bijan instead. Best decision.
That was definitely a good choice. It was definitely a good choice.
Mainly because I actually thought Jamar Chase was going to be really good this year in fantasy, and then it all went to shit. It all went to shit. So, real good choice there. Love that. So, yeah. But, yeah, like, the Bills just couldn't stop either of them, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
It'll be...
Nope, that is...
It'll be interesting.
It's a weird year. It's a weird year.
So, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, if that concludes Week 6, then we will look ahead to Week 7. The Ravens are on the bye, so I will obviously not be watching them. Get a little
break.
Emotional break.
From the pain.
I can't take it anymore. I can't. I believe last year, during their bye weeks, we picked 2 games.
I don't remember. But if you want to do that, we can.
So, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Nice.
My first game has been dubbed the Icy Hot Bowl. I'm going to watch the Steelers versus the Bengals on Thursday Night Football.
Makes sense, yeah. That.
You have the 2 oldest quarterbacks in the NFL. You also have 2 teams from my division. I haven't given either one of them a serious watch. I do think this is the Bengals quarterback moving forward for at least the foreseeable future. And the Steelers have been playing well. The Bengals historically don't play well against their division. I kind of think that's a Joe Burrow thing. Flacco does know the Steelers defense really well. Tomlin was upset at the trade between the Browns and the Bengals. He was upset that there was an interdivision trade, and he also felt like he had deserved a heads up on that. John Harbaugh didn't give a shit.
Why would you? Like, actually, though, why would you?
I don't know. So it's kind of a drama thing. It's kind of a story thing. It's my division. I don't have to play, so maybe I can watch the Bengals and the Browns.
All right.
And that fun train wreck. So that will be game 1.
While the Seahawks are taking on the Houston Texans at home, that game is Monday Night Football. It is the second of the doubleheader. I feel really bad for people on the East Coast because this game is a 7 p.m. Pacific kickoff, 10 p.m. Eastern. Really shitty for the schedulers to do that to the East time zone. Not sure why they did.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make a ton of sense when you could put this game on at 5 o'clock Pacific, and
That's what they did
make more sense. I don't know.
Last Monday.
Yeah, I don't know
there
what
was a 4:30 and a 5:15.
So I don't know what they're doing. I don't get this, but it is what it is. This is when the NFL decided to schedule it. So yeah, we're taking on the Houston Texans. Okay. Houston is coming off the bye, and this is the game before the Seahawks go on the bye. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what the Seahawks do with this one. Just be a real test. Talk more about it for my preview. I have a lot of thoughts on this game. Should be fun to talk about. And then my game of the week. I think I have yet to watch either of these two teams closely. I'm not really sure why I'm picking one of them. I kind of wanted to watch one of them, and the other one is just along with it. I'm going to watch New England and Tennessee. I'm curious on who this New England team is, truthfully. Obviously, they lead that division right now. But I haven't watched them in depth by themselves. I'm not entirely sure this is the game to do it, but I am just curious on what I see from New England. Tennessee, just kind of there. We'll see what happens without their head coach. And yeah, that's where we're at.
It was going to be my pick. That's why I let you go first, because I was like, I think there's potential. Just because Tennessee's got a new head coach and the Patriots have been playing well. So yeah, good pick. See what that will be. I am going to go the other Monday Night Football game. Have I seen the Bucks? Have I watched the Bucks? Do you know?
I don't think I have. You have. I have.
Okay. Go Bucks Lions. I've seen the Lions play. Obviously, they played the Ravens. I want to just really pay attention to the Bucks. I want to see how this defense holds up against the Lions right now. They are the best team in the NFC statistically, in terms of rankings. I think this is a great team. He is my current pick for MVP, but I haven't had a true sit-down look. So I'm going to go the Buccaneers-Lions on Monday Night Football.
Nice. All right. So two. Interesting. That's not the game I thought you were going to go with.
Two games. What did you think I was going to go with?
I thought you were going to go Indiana Chargers.
I've already watched both of them.
I didn't know you watched both of them already. That would explain that.
I know I watched Indiana when I watched the Chargers.
I feel like that's been my problem, is I should have been writing down what teams I picked.
I might go through the videos really quickly and try to listen to it.
And find it.
After this week, and so I can write down who I've watched.
Because that's been my struggle.
I thought I picked them. I thought I was seeing them. I know I watched the Colts.
Okay. That's been my problem.
So, yeah.
All right, well, whatever. All right.
Alrighty. Well, if that does it for our look ahead, do you have any other sports news? Random, calculated? No, I'm kidding. Anything else?
I don't. Just haven't. Yeah, I don't. Haven't been watching
No more volleyball.
No, hockey's now been if it's.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
If it's on, it's going on. Is really where we're at. So unfortunately, that kind of takes away from the random sports, but I love hockey. So what can I say?
Yeah, no, it's valid. Valid.
Any on your side?
No.
All right. Well, since there's no
3 innings of baseball this week, that's as random as it got.
And we already talked about that game in baseball, so nothing new.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we don't have any random news, I think that does it for us this week. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know how your teams are doing. If you're watching hockey, let us know how that's going to start the season. Obviously, basketball, I believe, is starting here in a couple weeks. They're getting through their preseason, so that'll be starting up. We'll start talking about that here soon. So yeah, just let us know some stuff in the comments. But yeah, with all that being said,
We have had someone commenting the last couple videos. We really appreciate it. It really does help push the video. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
gives us more to talk about. So
Margarine148. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Margarine148, thank you so much. I realized you had a question on our last video about where the play clock was located, that the quarterback could see it. When you look down on the field, so you have the whole field along the edge, like the back wall, behind the team, behind the goalposts, is a giant clock that counts down for the quarterbacks and for the O-line, so they can see the play clock down rather than just kind of a guess or something they have to mentally keep track of. It does sit on both sides of the field. It's just a little window up against like the back of the stadium that is big enough everybody can see it.
I want to say there's two on each side. So I think there's one on the left, one on the right, just out back behind both end zones. And for any questions there, the clock that you see on TV is not necessarily the clock that's in the stadium. That tends to be something a lot of people notice, is you'll see the clock on TV hit 0, and then they'll snap it, and there won't be a flag. A lot of times that's just because that clock might be just a smidge faster than the one in the stadium, and the refs will always use the one in the stadium, for delay of game flags. Yeah. That tends to be...
It's the clock that everybody use, and there's just two back on that wall.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for the question. Always happy to answer random questions about football.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the questions. So keep them coming, y'all.
All right. Well, with all that being said, I think that does do it. So thank y'all for joining. I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
Thank you.